We just spent 72 hours at one of Punta Cana's worst rated all-inclusive resorts. In fact, TripAdvisor only rates 2 other resorts worse than this one.
Now, we should probably also mention that this resort is also ridiculously cheap. We stayed at a few different all-inclusives in Punta Cana, and this one was by far the cheapest. In fact, we were actually able to book a premium level suite for less than $65 per person per night.
So in this video, we are going to be sharing the entire experience, the good and the bad, and make sure to stick around to the end because we are going to share why we would never book a premium level suite at this resort ever again.
Now, as you can see behind me, the beach at this resort is absolutely gorgeous. In fact, we'd say it rivals the beaches at resorts that are 3-4 times more expensive than this one. But there definitely are still some negatives that come with staying at an extreme budget resort like this one. And that actually leads us to our first topic, which is the check-in process.
Now, from reading reviews online, we knew that the check-in process for standard rooms could take a while, that there are typically long lines, and we did find that to be true during our stay. We also want to note that that check-in process is in the main lobby and it's not air conditioned, so if you're here on a hot day, it can be quite uncomfortable. Now, because we booked premium level, we did have a separate check-in area on the 3rd floor that was air conditioned, and because we booked in the off-season during the week, we were able to check in early. But what we didn't realize was that we could check in early just to use the amenities on the property, and that our room still wouldn't be ready until 3 p.m. Now, we arrived from the airport. I had pants on. We both had really heavy backpacks with our laptop and our filming gear in it. So we were not prepared to enjoy the pool and the beach while we waited for our room. So our recommendation is if you're going to arrive to this resort before 3 p.m., make sure to throw your bathing suit or a change of clothes in your backpack so that way you can change and fully enjoy the resort while you wait for your room.
Now, speaking of that premium check-in process, it actually occurs within what's known as the premium lounge, which is also where you'll find the premium level bar. Now, I was actually really excited about the premium level bar because we previously stayed at Occidental Punta Cana, a sister property, and the premium level bar there was awesome. It was located right on the beach. It had a bunch of premium liquors and great views. It even had a couple of hot tubs, but the premium lounge here was such a disappointment. It didn't have any premium liquors. All the drinks there you could get at any other bar on the property. Plus, the premium bar had no views to speak of, and there's just really no reason to ever go there other than when you're checking in.
Yeah, that bar was pretty sad, but I think our most disappointing experience has to be with our room, so we'll show you more of that right now. So we just got checked into our room. We are in building 1 on the 2nd floor. We were both pretty excited to see this room because look at it has these double doors and we booked a premium level suite. Sounds pretty nice, right? Let's go show you inside. So even though our expectations weren't too high, I think we were both pretty disappointed to find what was behind these doors. Now, there are some good things about this suite. We're gonna start with those. The first being its size. It is over 600 square foot. The living room is very spacious, as is the bedroom, which has a king-size bed. And that connects to the bathroom, which is also huge and has a tub and a shower. And the bathroom connects to a hallway, which has the longest closet we've ever had at a hotel or a resort. And in the closet, there is a safe that a laptop will fit in. Now, unfortunately, that's about where it ends for the positives with this suite. So let's move on to the not so good things, starting with this living area. Now, normally the decor does not bother us at all, but here it doesn't even look like they are trying. Everything that's hung on the wall is completely crooked, including this TV. And if you look closely here, this cord seems to be cut. We can't get the TV to turn on, and there's something hanging out of the wall on this side. And underneath the TV, this cabinet here, it's nowhere near straight and not even near the wall. In the corner behind me, there is a mini fridge. It does appear to be cold, but there's absolutely nothing in it. Now, as far as the bedroom, it's mainly just dated, but it is kind of odd that the entire bed is pulled about a foot away from the headboard. Now, the TV in here will turn on, but we can't get it to play any channels for more than 2 seconds before it returns to the black loading screen. Now, this bedroom does connect to the balcony. We are gonna show you that, but first we're gonna show you this bathroom, which is where things get even worse. Now, where to start with this bathroom? First, when we got inside, we noticed that there was water on the floor and neither of us had used the shower. We saw that there was a pretty good sized hole in the ceiling above the area where the water was. We also saw that the door to the shower comes nowhere close to closing. There are mildew areas around the shower and the tub, and the grout lines look pretty filthy. Like I said earlier, this bathroom is very spacious. It also has a place to sit down and a makeup mirror, so it does have that going for it. With that though, we are gonna try to go out to the balcony. Now I said try because earlier I attempted to open this door, but decided it wasn't worth the effort, so we're gonna give it another go. It slides really hard. Now, if you do make it out to your balcony, you will be rewarded with beautiful views of everybody else's balcony. Now, before we move on to the next topic, we do want to take some time to tell you about today's sponsor, Aura, because it gives us peace of mind when traveling to fully enjoy destinations like this one, especially on this trip when we are visiting 3 different Dominican resorts. It seems like every week or so, we see new headlines in the news about data breaches. Unfortunately, another one of those occurred right before this trip as 2.9 billion records were stolen from a data company. The stolen records included information like full names, addresses, dates of birth, phone numbers, and even social security numbers. The hacker group that was responsible for this reportedly released this information online for free. Now, because we use Aura, we were notified right away of our information that was affected, and we were able to take action to keep us safe online, which has allowed us to soak up the sun without having to worry if somebody is using our information to access credit or bank accounts fraudulently. If you're concerned that your data may have been exposed in recent breaches, then you can go to our link, aura.com/explorcation, to try it for free for 14 days. If you haven't been taking precautions with your personal information online before, this should be a huge wake-up call, as you've never been more vulnerable online than you are right now. If you're ready to be proactive and take steps to secure your information online, then visit aura.com/explorcation to try it for free for 2 weeks. Thanks to Aura for sponsoring this video. Now let's get on to the next topic.
Now, we definitely were pretty concerned about the air conditioning in our room. We'd read some reviews online from people who said the air conditioning in their room barely worked. And when we checked in, it was definitely on the warm side, but we did make sure to keep the thermostat set way low. We also made sure to keep the window shades closed, and eventually it did cool down and stayed pretty cool, but we definitely weren't able to get rid of the humidity in the room. It always felt quite wet in there, but we were at least able to sleep through the night. Also, I wanted to mention the mini fridge situation. It was empty when we checked in, but I left a note on top of the mini fridge for our room attendant requesting some beers and some waters, and sure enough, when we came back to our room on the second day, our mini fridge was full. We should also mention that we were quite happy with how clean our room attendant kept our room. There wasn't much she could do to make the room look nice since it was just generally in disrepair, and there was no way she could make it look good, but she did keep it as clean as possible.
So we came back to our room after a day in the sun, and our room attendant put a nice towel on the area that has been constantly wet that is underneath the hole in our ceiling. So honestly, she is doing her best.
Overall, I'd have to say that the service here was pretty good in general. I wouldn't say the staff were any less friendly here than they were at some of the more expensive resorts that we stayed at, and the service was definitely comparable to those resorts as well for the most part. I would say though that the majority of the staff here on this resort do speak Spanish as a primary language. Some of them speak a little bit of English, some speak a little bit more than that, and you can communicate with them decently as an English-only speaker. But if English is your primary language, you definitely are going to have challenges speaking with the majority of the staff on this resort. And for that reason, I would recommend downloading Google Translate on your phone, and make sure to download both the English and the Spanish languages, so that way the translator will work even if you don't have cell reception.
Now, another tip we have is even if you only know a little bit of Spanish, try communicating with the staff in their primary language. It seemed they really appreciated when we tried to communicate in Spanish. They were more than willing to have conversations with us, even if it was really broken. Next, we want to talk about the food on the resort, and that is an area that we found during our stay is you get what you pay for.
Yeah, and neither of us are picky eaters, but we have stayed at several Punta Cana resorts and never had an issue finding food that we enjoyed. But at this resort, it was quite a bit harder. We certainly didn't go hungry. We always did find food that we were willing to eat, but it was challenging at times.
Yeah, now on the property, there are 2 buffets and I think 7 specialty restaurants. And if you do book premium, there is a restaurant that you can go to for breakfast and lunch that's separate from the buffets. Now, because we only stayed here for 72 hours, we didn't get to eat at all the restaurants, but we got to eat at quite a few of them, and we did film those experiences, so we'll show you those right now.
So we just arrived at the resort. We haven't even had a chance to check into our room yet, but thankfully it is lunchtime, so we were able to come dine at the premium restaurant. Now from our research, we knew that the premium restaurant typically is located in the Mexican restaurant, but today is actually located in the Dominican restaurant. You can dine here for breakfast and lunch. For breakfast, it's a buffet, and for lunch, it's an a la carte menu. And the appetizers consist of just the salad bar, but the salad bar does have salads, soup, breads, and some meat and cheeses. No, we really weren't that hungry, so we just decided to do the salad bar and order a couple of entrees. Jamie went with a grouper, and I went with a filet, and of course, I also had to get a Presidente.
Overall, this experience was just all right. We really enjoyed the small setting, the air conditioning, and the good service, but the food quality wasn't near as good as other Punta Cana resorts we'd stayed at previously. Skylar really enjoyed the pumpkin soup on the salad bar, and while his steak wasn't very tender, it was cooked exactly how we ordered it and the flavor was good. The next morning, we tried out the premium breakfast buffet, which was still temporarily in the Dominican restaurant. The presentation looked much nicer when compared to the main buffet, but the selection was limited. We basically made ourselves croissant sandwiches and they were pretty good. On our last day at the resort, we ate at the premium breakfast buffet again, and this time it was back in its typical place within the Mexican restaurant on the beach. We had made to order omelets and waffles, and Skylar even made himself a Bloody Mary.
We did finally get to eat at the Mexican restaurant for our premium breakfast. We definitely do say that it is a better experience because it is so light and bright in there. The atmosphere is just better. Also, there's hardly any people in there, so the service is really good. I didn't even have to wait in line to get an omelet, and Jamie didn't have to wait to get her waffle. Unfortunately, the selection was once again quite a bit less than the main buffet, and we didn't find anything on the premium buffet that you can't find on the main buffet, but at least we did have a nice view of the water.
The main buffet on this resort is by the lobby. While it did offer variety, we often struggled to find food we enjoyed. We didn't find there to be enough seating for this buffet, and we should mention it is open air. On a couple occasions, we found birds eating directly off of it. The buffet by the pool was much smaller, and we preferred to order personal pizzas from the pizza shop above the buffet. The resort offers additional complimentary dining options in the evening, specializing in Dominican, French, Mexican, Italian, Mediterranean, and Japanese cuisine. We were able to make reservations for 3 of the 6 during our stay. We will be sharing more of our buffet and specialty dining experiences in our Occidental Caribe Ultimate Tour episode. Be sure to subscribe to our channel and turn the notifications on so you won't miss our full tour.
Now, similar to the food here on the resort, we also did have some challenges finding some good drinks, but it wasn't due to the quality of the liquor. We did find some pretty decent quality liquor brands such as Beefeater Gin, Johnny Walker, and Jim Beam Whiskey, and Stoli Vodka at some of the bars. I think more of the challenge was the mixers. All of the juices were fake and they were overly sweet, and the pre-mixed drinks were also very sweet as well. But there was one bar where I was able to find a drink that we both really liked, and that was at the West Lobby Bar. Now, you are only able to find that drink at the West Lobby Bar, at least during our stay, because that was the only bar that had fresh passion fruit juice. So what I ordered was a passion fruit mojito with no sugar, because the passion fruit itself has plenty of sweetness. So the drink was a little tart, it wasn't overly sweet, and it was just really refreshing and delicious. I was happy to drink those all day long. And I'm a firm believer that you only really need to find one drink on a resort that you really like to make the drinking experience a good one, and I was definitely able to find that drink on this resort.
Now, Skylar mentioned that fresh passion fruit juice. I want to add that we were only able to find other fresh juices on the breakfast buffet, and when we tried those, they did seem to be a little bit watered down because they were not flavorful at all. But something that we did really enjoy was the coffee. We could get coffee at both lobby bars. They had machines to make lattes, espressos, cappuccinos, and all of them were really good. They even had some flavorings to add to them as well. Now, I have been getting lattes, but this time I'm trying espresso. That is strong. It is definitely going to get me through the night.
So I went with a cappuccino, but this time I decided to mix it with mamajuana, which is a traditional Dominican liquor. Never tried this before, no idea if it's going to be any good, but we'll give it a whirl. Yeah, that's not bad at all. One more thing on those drinks, the only beer you will find on this resort is Presidente, and you'll only find it on tap. They generally serve it in small glasses and they get warm right away. If you do want to keep your beer cold or just be able to drink more of it, I guess it kind of applies to all of your mixed drinks, bring your own insulated cup because they will let you pour your mixed drinks and your beers into those. Now, I know we've been covering a lot of the negatives at this resort, but there were actually quite a few things that impressed us as well, especially at this bargain bin price point.
Now, one of those things had to be the pools on property. There were 3 of them. There was what I'd call the party pool that was next to one of the buffets, and then there was a kids water park area that had a pool, and the third pool was what we called the quiet pool. That was our favorite one. Now, because we booked during the off season, there were plenty of loungers available everywhere, so we didn't have to get up early to reserve our loungers. There were even some tiki huts that we could have stayed in all day if we wanted to.
Yeah, you definitely do not have to play the towel game at this resort. Even in the middle of the day when the pools were at their busiest, there were still always plenty of loungers available. I would say that the quiet pool is less busy generally than the party pool. So if you're someone that wants to come to the resort to meet a lot of new people and enjoy some drinks in the pool, the party pool is your place because it is the busier pool and it does have a swim-up bar. But we should mention the majority of the clientele at this resort are Spanish speakers. I'd say even more so than the other all-inclusives that we've been to here in the Dominican. So if you're like us and you speak English primarily and very little Spanish, then you're gonna have a hard time corresponding with most of the other guests here at the property. So that's something to keep in mind if you are coming to the resort hoping to mingle with other people. Now it's almost time to talk about the thing that we loved most about this resort, and that is the beach. But first we're gonna talk about a couple of very unique beachfront amenities.
Yeah, on this resort, we found there to be a rock climbing wall and a trapeze right next to the beach. Now, I was able to climb on the wall and Skylar was able to try the trapeze, so we'll show you those experiences right now. So we've got to climb up this ladder on the inside. Now, it is finally time to talk about this gorgeous beach. If you're all familiar with Punta Cana resorts, then you probably know that most of them are quite large, but some of them are very narrow, which means that everybody has to fit into a very narrow area of beach, but that is not true at Occidental Caribe. This property is wide, which means you have several different beach areas to choose from to enjoy this water. Now, we were really lucky during our stay. We did not have an issue with sargassum, and even when it was storming out, the water still looked turquoise.
Yeah, and one of my favorite things about this beach had to be the mature palm trees. I guess that's one of the benefits of an older resort is that it has been around for a while, so the trees have had a good chance to grow. And I just love the fact that you didn't have to go out on the beach searching for an umbrella if you wanted to have some shade. All you had to do was pull your lounger up under a palm tree. Another thing I loved about the beach here is that it was not busy at all. Now, I know part of that is due to it being hurricane season and there just aren't that many people at this resort. But even when we looked next door to the neighboring property, you could tell that their beach was significantly busier than ours. I also love the proximity of the pools to the beaches on this property. No matter where you are on the beach, you're never more than a few footsteps from one of the pools. Now, I would say one thing I did not like about this property is that there really isn't a true beach bar. It wasn't like Occidental Punta Cana where you could literally walk right into the sand after getting a drink. But considering that's the only complaint I have about the beach at this resort, I'd say that's doing really good, and there's no doubt that this beach is the highlight of the resort.
Now that we've covered all the good and the bad of this resort, we have to talk about why we would never book a premium level suite on this resort ever again.
Yeah, and I think the main reason has to be the room. Now, when you're booking a premium level suite, you gotta think that sounds pretty nice, and the pictures online did make it look pretty nice, but when we walked into that room, we couldn't believe how not nice it was. Now, we can live with the old furniture. We didn't really care that the pictures weren't straight or that the TVs weren't working, but what we can't live with is that there was an actual hole in the ceiling of our bathroom, and there was water on the floor literally at all times, and I'm pretty sure the view from our balcony was one of the worst views from any room on the entire property.
Now we know the premium level suites are located throughout the property, and some of them are going to have a better location, but we didn't get to see inside any of them, so we're not sure if some of them might be updated and maybe we just got a really bad one. So if you stayed in a premium level suite and had a better experience, please let us know in the comments because we'd love to hear about it. Now we also didn't think the premium level lounge and the breakfast and lunch experiences lived up to our expectations. Now if you're somebody though that really prioritizes being able to eat breakfast and lunch with a view of the beach, then premium level might be for you, because most of the time the premium level breakfast and lunches are in the Mexican restaurant, which is right on the beach.
So even though there certainly are some perks of booking the premium level, we both agreed that it just wasn't worth the upcharge for us. We would have rather put our money towards a room that has a guaranteed ocean view from the balcony, because the ocean view and the beaches are without a doubt the highlight of this resort. But just because we wouldn't consider booking premium level again at this resort doesn't mean we wouldn't consider booking again at this resort at all, especially during hurricane season, where it is just such a great value considering the amazing beach and pools you have access to at such an inexpensive price point. And if you're not a picky eater or a foodie and are perfectly okay eating pretty average food throughout your stay, then this resort could be a really good budget option for your stay in Punta Cana.
So now that you've seen the good, the bad, and all of our premium level experiences, we want to know if you would consider booking at this resort. Whether it be a standard room or a premium level room, let us know in the comments.
And whether you're actually considering booking a stay at this resort or just want to see more of the property, be sure to check out our tour video by clicking here right now. Thanks for watching.